All right, and we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the second part of the show, we are now going to talk about the Panthers benching Bryce Young. This was kind of a surprise, um, I guess, just because, one thing is how early in the season. Um, but also, the Panthers, they brought in Dave Canales to kind of be the guy to fix Bryce Young and get this team going in the right direction. But I understand the move, I guess, in some ways, because maybe they're pulling the plug on him already. Maybe because of these first two games. I mean, it has not been pretty. These are Bryce Young's stats through the first two games. Let me just do some changing around here. So these are Bryce. This is through two games. He only has 245 yards passing, no touchdowns, no touchdown passes, and 3 interceptions. Not been good. They got They got blown out by the Saints in Week 1, and then this past week they lose. I think it was 26-3 to the Chargers. Not good. Not good. And Adam Thielen is still defending him. I get it, but it hasn't been great. And yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. Could this be it for him? I don't know if this. I mean, could they go back to him at some point? I don't really know what the full thing is with this situation, but yeah, Bryce Young only went 18 of 26 for 84 yards, no touchdown and a pick against the Chargers this past week. 84 yards. That's how many passing yards you should have after a quarter, not after a whole game. And it's not like the Panthers didn't do anything to try to, help him out. They brought in Deontay Johnson. They drafted Xavier Legette. They tried to help him. And, maybe it's I think it's definitely more than just that. But also you got to look at Dave Canales. Dave Canales was the offensive coordinator for the Bucs last year, and many people pointed to him as to why Baker Mayfield has this renaissance to his career, and he definitely factored into it. But look at how the Panthers look right now with him as the head coach, and look at what Baker's doing in Tampa still. Baker's gotten off to a great start. They're 2-0. So how much did Dave Canales really have to do with Baker Mayfield playing well last year? I don't know. That's another question to ask. But yeah, it definitely is a little bit surprising. I can't say like I'm completely caught off guard by this, but yeah, it definitely is. A little like that. It's a little puzzling that they pulled the plug. Well, I don't know if I want to say puzzling, but like I said, it's a little bit surprising because it's only week 3. But I guess they really just feel like, yeah, there's nothing happening right now. We got to make a change. Maybe Dave Canales feels like he needs to save his job, so put in the veteran Andy Dalton. Now, Andy Dalton played in one game last year, one full game for the Panthers, and threw the ball a lot, but the Panthers actually, were able to generate some offense with him as the starting quarterback. So last year, it was in Seattle, I remember. So Andy Dalton against Seattle. This was, oddly enough, this was in week 3. But this is because Bryce Young got hurt. So he went 34 for 58 for 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. And I'm going to see if I could find the score of that game as well, because it was I remember it was a high-scoring game. But if Andy Dalton goes out there and plays well for the Panthers against the Raiders, yeah, I mean, then you got to say, well, this really is a Bryce Young problem. I mean, I think already most people are saying that, but if Andy Dalton goes out there and plays well, that's only going to help that argument even more. So yeah, the Panthers did lose the game. The final score is 37-27. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, and I can't say that this is the wrong move either because he just has not. Bryce Young has not been playing well. But it does make you wonder how what's going to happen. And the other thing too is, again, you see it, the trade between the Panthers and the Bears, and it just is so lopsided. The Bears, they got all these assets from the Panthers. They got DJ Moore. They turned a first round pick into Darnell Wright in 2023, a second round pick into Tyreek Stevenson. This year's first round pick, Caleb Williams, and then they also have a 2025 second round pick. And it's just the Panthers got fleeced in this trade, the way it's looking right now. And you also see what C.J. Stroud is doing over in Houston. You could have had him, but you took Bryce Young instead. I mean, who knows what would have happened if the Panthers would have got Stroud and, the Texans get Bryce Young. Like, would C.J. Stroud be who he is right now with the Panthers? But, yeah, this trade that they made, it's so one-sided. And the Bears are still using a Panthers pick in the 2025 draft, the second rounder, which is going to be basically a late first. So it's just, it's not good for the Panthers. I feel like it definitely, it's a combination of everything. It's Bryce Young not playing well, and it's the organization. So it's not good. Not good. And, who knows what ends up happening from here? Where are they going to get rid of him after this year, and he's going to go elsewhere and try to revitalize his career? Because you see some of these quarterbacks from past quarterback classes. I mean, you see what Sam Darnold's doing in Minnesota. You see what Baker's doing in Tampa. I mean, maybe a change of scenery is what Bryce Young needs. Got to get out of here. Got to get out of Carolina. And it's amazing how, the Panthers, they were once a very good team. When Cam Newton came in, they were a playoff team, for a few years. They made it to the Super Bowl, but that ended so fast. And since then, I mean, it's been rough. It has been rough. And they tried to, piece it together, bringing in Baker Mayfield, having Sam Darnold. Before that, I mean, they were on the team at the same time, but then they brought in Baker as an upgrade over Darnold, and that just did not pan out. And now you go, and like I said, you go and see what they're doing in a change of scenery. I mean, that does speak volumes about the Panthers. But it's just, what's going on here is just, it's not good. I think it is a combination, but you do, the organization, yeah, I mean, look at what these other quarterbacks are doing in other places. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see how the rest of this season unfolds for the Panthers. I mean, this could be many different things. You could say it's a desperation move for Dave Canales, because the offense just has not looked great at all. I think Andy Dalton right now, yeah, is probably the better option. He's a veteran quarterback. The offense, I think, will look better with him. Now, that doesn't mean that the Panthers are going to go on this run and make some noise in the NFC South. No. But the offense will definitely look a little bit more competent. So, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough to come back from this if you're Bryce Young. And, after this long off season, after the kind of year that the Panthers had last year, and they went out and they tried to improve the offensive line. They got him more weapons. And they're still kind of and a new head coach, an offensive-minded head coach. They're still in the same spot. So, yeah, it's not looking good. This season is on its way to being another disastrous season for the Panthers. And yeah, we'll see, what Andy Dalton can do. Like I said, I think the offense is going to look a little bit better with him. But, again, I'm not expecting the Panthers to just, become this good football team all of a sudden. I don't think many people are expecting that either. So, yeah, that is major news that did break yesterday. I was a little bit surprised by that, but not saying I like I said, I wasn't completely caught off guard by it. Because you look at how the Panthers have looked the first 2 weeks, and yeah, it hasn't been great. It's more of the same from last year. So, yeah, before we go to break, though, but yeah, let me know what you guys think, though, about Bryce Young being benched. Do you think he should have been given more of a runway here with this new head coach? Let me know in the comments. So, before we go to break, just want to remind you guys once again to tip or donate and get your comments recognized. Make sure to go to the $ icon in the chat. This will help create a super chat. Any thoughts or comments you may have during the live broadcast, I will acknowledge the super chat that you put out. And it just makes the show more lively, more entertaining between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. We appreciate your guys' viewership each and every day. So any contribution that you can make to the show means the world to us. And the other way to help out the show is by going to the link GSMCPodcast.net, which is displayed at the bottom of the show segment on the ticker. So when we come back from our second break of the show, I will get into talking about the latest injury news around the league, some major news regarding wide receivers in the NFC West, Cooper Kupp and Deebo Samuel. We'll talk about them and the impact of their injuries when we come back from our second break of the show. So, with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.